How would you like to have a shower like this one? How much did the shower remodel cost to go from an old cultured marble jacuzzi tub shower combo to a nice bright white shower with a shower bench, shampoo niche, and frameless shower glass? This could be yours for the low price of $15,091.06. On the first day of any remodel, I usually start with the shower surround and tub demo, and depending on what your shower walls and tub are made of, will impact how long the demo will take. But somewhere around 6 to 8 hours with all the cleanup. If you want to see the full demo, I have that video on a playlist called DK Playlist, like David Kimball, but that's not the client's real name. When converting a tub shower drain to a walk-in shower drain, we need to remove the 1.5" tub drain parts that are directly connected to the tub and go back to wherever the 2" drain pipe is at. Sometimes that 2" drain pipe is just a few inches away, like on the other side of the trap, and other times it might be a foot or so. The worst case I've seen is probably 30 inches or so, down underneath the slab. Like literally my arm could not even reach straight down to the 2" drain pipe. So that was a little bit more challenging, but that's not what we normally include in our estimate. Whenever estimating on a tub shower remodel to a walk-in shower remodel, you really don't know if the drain pipe is going to be, just below the soil level, like an inch or two or something. And sometimes it could be 12 inches down. It could be literally out of sight. It could be stuck between a couple of water lines, that are kind of blocking your way. So you got to get a little bit creative about how to get around those water lines. The 2" drain pipe could be completely out of sight, 30 inches down, and you're just digging dirt out for, hours kind of, because usually it's damp, hard packed, clay or something like that. So in our estimate, we're usually assuming that somewhere within about 12 inches of the tub drain is the 2" pipe. If it gets beyond that and we literally have to go 2, 3, 4 feet, 5 feet, maybe more over, then, that's the risk that you take. And of course, something like that's going to cost the client extra money. And other times we need to chip out concrete for a few hours and then dig out the soil until we find it. To chip out this very thick concrete, dig out the soil, remove the 1.5" drain pipe back to where I could get to the 2" drain pipe, and replace that drain pipe with a new piece of 2" pipe and a solvent welded trap with the pipe sticking out of the concrete. And then I patched the concrete. All of that for this particular job took me 12 hours of labor and about $40 to $50 of materials. Other jobs that are kind of similar, we might have had 2 to 3 hours of chipping out the concrete and digging out the soil, maybe an hour or two of actual plumbing work, because you got to go to the store and get parts and put it all together. So maybe for comparison, an easy job might take 6 hours worth of total work between the jackhammering the soil, replacing the drain pipe, patching up the concrete. And this one being more complicated is 12 hours. Of course, I have a job that happened in later of 2024 where there was an existing freestanding tub in the middle of a bathroom, and we both knew, the client and I, that the shower was originally on one side of the bathroom and there was a tub that was built in on the other side of the bathroom. So now I had to jackhammer concrete and basically follow the drain pipe back to a 2" drain pipe, which one was in one corner and one was in the other corner. That's right, there was two 2" drain pipes because there was a concrete grade beam in the middle. And now I had to basically chip out concrete for like 2 or 3 days. So that was a bit crazy, right? So just the labor alone to demo might be somewhere around in the $1,800 range, not counting the time spent plumbing and concrete patching and all of that. On this job, I framed the shower curb in 40 minutes, but some jobs may take an hour and a half to 2 hours for whatever reason. And the bench took 1 hour and 15 minutes, but sometimes they can take up to 3 hours to frame. It just kind of depends on what the exact situation is and, what did I include with that, right? Like I had to figure out all of the tile dimensions to figure out the exact height, so that way the top of the bench and all of that lined up nicely with all of the tile. You need to factor in some things like going to buy materials and drive time, and that can take 30 minutes to an hour. For the shampoo niche, this niche took 2 hours, and the tile height planning and layout usually takes about 1 hour. So that way the niche and valve lines up nicely. So 3 hours of work plus materials is $225 plus $20 of materials roughly. So we got about $245 just for a shampoo niche. And that's just the rough framing. Usually I float a layer of pre-sloped mortar and then do a liquid applied hydroband and waterproofing membrane, but on this job I decided to use a pre-sloped Schluter pan, which is basically a extruded polystyrene foam core pan, and that has the orange waterproof membrane on top. Now that's the same material that they use to build the old school igloo coolers. But of course, the orange part of the fabric will help the tile adhere to that EPS surface. And then if you were using a Schluter system, you would go ahead and take that orange Schluter membrane up the walls on top of something like the Hardie backer cement board or another approved product. Normally it'll take about 4 to 5 hours to mix a few bags of the Type S spec mix mortar and float a pre-sloped shower pan by yourself and have a 1/4 inch per foot slope. Of course, the perimeter of the shower pan needs to be level and then slope back to the drain, so that way everything finishes off nicely with no dips in the middle of your mortars. So that way you don't have any areas of your floor tile that are basically holding water. Inevitably, the existing shower valve will get moved to lay out nicely with the new tile size and layout. If a customer wants to buy a new valve, that will be up to them to purchase. Either way, moving or installing a standard valve like this and putting on the finished hardware will cost about $400 to $475 in labor. If the customer wants something with a separate handheld function or a diverter valve, it could cost $75 to $150 for a handheld. But really, all of this depends on how the valve is designed. And if they have like a separate diverter valve, then I'm basically installing a whole second valve and blocking, and of course the port for that is going to be similar to like the shower head. And for the handheld, it's about $400 or so for a diverter. And I'm usually installing this with like copper pipe and rough plumbing, pipes and fittings. None of this is any sort of, finished shower heads and whatever fancy, trim stuff. Valves and diverters are purchased by the customer. In all my shower models, I install a 1/2 inch Hardie backer cement board. Now in reality, it's actually a tiny bit less than 1/2 inch, but it's installed with 1 5/8 backer-on screws. Each sheet of Hardie is measured to cut and fit tightly to each other and screwed into a framing member. When it comes to the shampoo niche, the bottom piece of Hardie is sloped towards the drain so the moisture can escape, and same concept with the top of the shower bench and curb. You want all of that stuff to be pre-sloped, going towards the drain. I coated all of the shower walls, shampoo niche, bench, shower floor, and curb with Hydroband liquid applied waterproofing in 2 separate coats with a Laticrete anti-fraction membrane in all of the corners. And that way, if the house shifts around like it does at some houses here in Texas, it holds that waterproofing membrane together, even if there's a little bit of a shift. The final step before starting the tile work is to do a shower pan test for 24 hours where the drain is plugged up and the water is filled up to the top of the shower curb. The next day, you can check to make sure that there was no leaks or other signs of damage. Depending on the client's house temperature and airflow, I have seen water level decrease by about 1/32 of an inch and as much as 1/16 inch max. So I've learned to not be too paranoid or concerned about that because I've been using Hydroband liquid for 12 to 13 years. The Hydroband liquid shower pan with the mortar pre-float, I charge $1,382, not to mention the materials that are expensive. Now for the shower tile, if a client doesn't know what they want, I will normally plan on a 12 inch by 24 inch tile in a subwave pattern. The 12 by 24 tile has been a very popular tile choice for most of the showers, so it's very predictable if a client says that's what they want to do. This shower was about 32 inches wide on the left and right side and 60 inches along the back wall. And that's a pretty common size that you're going to see for an existing tub shower. You'll have a 30 by 60 or 32 by 60. This bench is 18 inches tall to be at a comfortable chair height, which is kind of like the ADA requirement of 18 inches. And the top tile is sloped to the drain, so there should be no worries of the bench staying wet. I installed all of the tile with a custom white LFT, which is large format tile thin set, and the shower wall tile grout was Arctic white. So if you had to purchase an Arctic white and DeLorean gray grout caulking tubes, then that would total up to roughly $33. The shower floor is a 2-inch charcoal gray hex tile with a DeLorean gray grout. Now I don't remember exactly which tile the client purchased, but it probably looks a lot like this one here. And something like that is, $14.99. Now keep in mind that each sheet of tile is less than 1 square foot. It might be like 0.91 or something along those lines. But so don't assume that it's a 12 inch by 12 inch tile. You're probably going to need 1 more or 3 more in order to complete your floor than you think. You might want to buy a little extra. Don't forget about the 2 pieces of hex tile that are in the shampoo niche. So probably a good idea to get at least one more, and that way the tile guy, if he has to cut off a few pieces to stick into certain little areas around the drain or the edges, that he can get all of that tile filled in. The grout was a custom poly blend, but if you're willing to spend more, then use a pre-mixed grout like MyPay, FlexColor CQ, or Laticrete Ready to Use, or Fusion Pro. Once the shower tile is finished, I'll meet with the shower glass guy and he will measure the shower walls, curb, bench, and any possible angles that could affect the shower glass. He and I will review the initial plan that I drew for the job, make any changes to the measurements, and reflect the actual job site dimensions. And fine-tune the placement of the hinges to usually look good with the tile layout, the height of the handle, and the towel bar. The glass company will place the new frameless shower glass on order once I have signed off on it. Then 2 to 3 weeks later, the shower glass arrives. The glass install crew will come out and get the new frameless glass installed in a day or less. I usually wait until after the shower glass is installed to install the shower head, shower valve trim, and handle. From the time I demoed the shower to the completion of the shower tile, it was 3 weeks. It basically went from February 20th to March 16th is when we were grouting. The rest of the time after that is just waiting for the shower glass measuring, manufacturing, delivery, and install. The 3/8 tempered frameless shower glass with a towel bar and 8-inch D handle was $3,455 in March of 2024. So this whole shower cost $15,091.06 just for the things that I did, plus about $700 for tile, and maybe just say somewhere around $200 or so for the shower valve that the customer purchased. So we're really getting close to that $16,000 mark for everything related to the shower. Now, if you're also interested in getting your bathroom floor tile, this 27 square foot, so that way it matches the shower. This 27 square foot bathroom costs $1,350 to install. That's $1,350. The client, these tiles, they usually cost around $5 a square foot, just for kind of rough estimating. So you could probably say that it was about $300 in floor tile. The toilet removal and install, that total was $225. Now, because this shower was for an elderly couple and they wanted to have a grab bar installed, they purchased the grab bar and then I installed it for $100, which meant I had to drill 6 holes through the tile, put in some anchors, but really I was smart enough to put in some 2x12 blocking in the wall ahead of time since we knew this was coming, and that way the grab bar is installed, per ADA requirements, which is right around 33 inches. If you live in the Fort Worth, Texas area and would like to get your shower remodeled, you basically have an estimate or approximate cost of what your shower could cost, especially if it looks just like this one. So factor in about $16,000 and you should be good to go.